Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Bhangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripa Bande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Brahmanand Madhum Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gaurvani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashad Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Naam Sankirtan ki jai, Hare Krishna Maha Mantra ki jai, Anant Koti Vaishnav Vrind ki jai, ISKCON founder Acharya His Divine Grace Prabhupada ki jai, Symbol Bhaktavind ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. So let me see who else are here. Don't see Ina Mataji and
Hare Krishna, Prabhu,
Hare
I'm
Krishna,
here.
you are there. Hare Krishna, okay.
I'm
And
just setting up.
Jyoti Mataji is not here. Okay, she just joined. I saw her. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So we'll start. And today we are going to start a new chapter, Transcendental Knowledge. And on this screen, you are seeing yoga ladder. So I think since it's on the slide, I'll just go through it. That's what we are going to basically do through chapter 3, 4, 5, 6, and then after that we'll get into Bhakti Yoga. So the most lowest form of living the life is animal life, where there is unregulated sense gratification. So animals have no regulation, and there are group of people also who do not follow any regulation, and that's called basically Vishaya Ashakti, completely completely engaged in sense gratification. And then there is karma kanda activity, where there is some degree of regulation, but it's mostly towards sense gratification. And then karma yoga is basically sakam karma yoga, where we live the regulated life for higher result. And then Niskam Karma Yoga is for purification. Gyan Yoga and Dhyan Yoga is for liberation. And Bhakti Yoga is for Shuddha Prema. So elevation of consciousness goes from a very from a very uh, lower grade of living the life all the way up to Bhakti Yoga. So a person who has come to the stage of Bhakti Yoga, where he is engaged Anukulenu Krishnanu, whatever is favorable to Krishna, he is engaged in that type of activity, then he has in fact received the result, or he has in essence received the all of this type of consciousness, or in other words, he has overcome all of this consciousness. So a bhakti yogi might not appear to be that advanced in ordinary sense when you look at it. It also depends how you see it. But a person who has formed faith in bhakti yoga, he has achieved the result of all other level of consciousness that comes before. So in this chapter, which is called Transcendental Knowledge, Krishna is going to talk about the lineage, how the transcendental knowledge has been coming through the parampara. And then he will talk about the Janma Rahasya and Karma Rahasya. What is the secret of his birth, his appearance, and what is the secret of his action, and how people normally perceive it. And then Krishna will talk that he is the culmination of all paths. That's the highest most gyan. Highest most knowledge is that one find Krishna as a end goal or ultimate goal of that uh, all the endeavor that a person is making. So of all the prayas, of all the endeavor that human beings are making, the goal is to perform sadhana bhakti. So of all the endeavor, and you want to make a note of that, out of all the endeavor, sadhana bhakti is the highest most endeavor. And of all the goal, people have multiple goal in their life. I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do that. But highest most goal is obtaining the prem or prema for Krishna. So Krishna prem is the real shar, real essence, real goal. And of all the form of worship that living beings are engaged, worshipping Krishna in Bhagwan form is the highest most. So these are the three limbs, or these are the three mula out of Das Mula Tattva that Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives in Jaya Dharma. What is the dharma of the living being? He says that of all the endeavor, sadhana bhakti is the topmost endeavor. Of all the goal, Krishna prema is the highest most goal. And of all the form that living beings are worshipping Krishna as Bhagwan, you can see here. In this form is the highest most worship. And then understanding karma, mostly here niskam karma, on the platform of Gyan. And finally, attaining that sublime Gyan through the process of Yagya. And then what are the methods? Methods to obtain the Gyan. What are the results? What happens when person is fully situated in Gyan? What he finally obtains, what he receives. And then some of the glorification of the Gyan. Gyan is Nahi Sadrisya Gyanam. Krishna will say that there is nothing higher than this sublime knowledge. So, so the previous chapter, Krishna, listen very carefully, okay? If you, these things are, you might have heard a lot so many times and you would think that you know this thing, but technically, if you listen very carefully, then you can see the difference and your learning will change. Don't hang on what you have been hearing and what you think that you know. Rather try to get into the flow that I'm trying to get into and listen very carefully and then see if it doesn't make sense, then let's talk. So third chapter talks about Niskam Karma Yoga. And there Krishna says, Nirashir Nirmamo, without any possession and without any desire, you should act. So goal is yet not clear. without any desire, without any possession, I have to act. But act for what? So this chapter is Gyan Yoga. So the essence of or the goal of Niskam Karma Yoga is Gyan Yoga. Please make a note. Right now, up to so far, Arjun has been fully situated to perform Niskam Karma Yoga. But for who? Then Krishna here will give the transcendental knowledge. So what is transcendental knowledge? Three things. Knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Knowing who the Supreme Personality of Godhead is and who the soul is. And then what is their relationship. So these three things. These three things when we put together, it's transcendental knowledge. Trayagunya Visaya Veda, Nastargunya Bhava Arjuna. So what we are talking about, transcendental knowledge, Nastargunya Bhava. Now come out of these three guna. So that's the transcendental knowledge, knowledge about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who the Lord is, and Lord is going to talk very, very powerful statement. You know, up to verse number 10, he will say who he is, why he takes birth, and we'll talk a little bit, you know, in detail about some of those verses. So who the Supreme Personality of Godhead is and who the Jivas are and how is their relationship, you know, how they are acting in reference to the Prakriti that is given around them. So that's the basically importance of this chapter. In this chapter, Krishna will give the knowledge, Gyan, about who he is. And then in later chapter, he will say, now you know the Niskam Karma Yoga is one you have to do. So Niskam Karma Yoga type 1 is chapter 3, where the goal is mostly purification and partially liberation. Gyan Yoga, here Krishna is helping understand how you should act. Better than Karma Yoga, you take the Niskam Karma Yoga. But if you act as a Niskam Karma Yogi with knowledge who you have to act for, then in 5th chapter, which is acting in Krishna consciousness, Krishna is going to say that now you know the Niskam Karma Yoga, now you know the goal who you should act for. Then 5th chapter, Krishna will say act for Krishna consciousness. So 3rd chapter, if you try to understand, 3rd chapter presents the concept of Niskam Karma Yogi Girhastha, and 4th chapter presents the concept of a Girhastha who is ready to act in Krishna consciousness. And in 5th chapter, a person is fully engaged in Krishna consciousness. So this is a very simplified version of graph, and I will be talking this graph again and again, and I'm sure there will be some questions, but try to understand it. In Karma Khanda activity, in Karma Khandic platform, the action is mostly for Vishaya Shakti, for sense gratification. The goal is sense gratification, and Vishaya Sangrah is the goal. But Sakam Karma Yoga, one is engaged in prescribed duty of Varnasrama. Okay, and the goal is heavenly pleasure or other multiple desire. So this is basically Sakam Girhastha. Okay, we'll talk about that a little bit later. When it comes for ashram, either you are brahmachari or you are girhastha or you are banprastha or you are sannyasa, The essence of ashram is to engage in devotional service. So even one is in Girhastha, but if one is engaged in Krishna consciousness, then it's not any different than being in sannyasa, where later Krishna will say karma sannyasa. But without confusing, Sakam Karma Yogi, their goal is heavenly pleasure. Niskam Karma Yoga type 1, they are engaged in Varnashram Dharma, in activity of the Varna and Ashram, and their main goal is purification, and secondary goal is liberation, and they are Niskam Girhastha. And then Niskam Karma Yoga type 2, they are also engaged in prescribed duty of Varnashram, but under the knowledge. So NKY2, Niskam Karma Yoga type 2, comes after Jnana. Once you have this knowledge, then you are working in Niskam Karma Yoga, which is going to be chapter 5. And then Gyan Yoga, where you basically have the analytical study, and the goal here is liberation. So liberation itself is Sat feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Brahman realization, Sat feature. And Ashtanga Yoga, the higher stage of Ashtanga Yoga, is also liberation, but that has Sat and Chit feature. And Bhakti, where one is taken the limbs of Bhakti, 64 limbs, out of that 5 are principal limbs. So when one is taken the limbs of Bhakti, the activity in the Bhakti Yoga is limbs of Bhakti. Sonam Kirtanam Vishnu Smarnam Pad Sevanam Archanam Bandanam Darsham Shakhyam Atmanivedanam, and goal is Krishna Prema. And there the Sat, Chit and Anand feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is basically revealed. So this slide is very powerful slide, and I'm sure that is not clear. Everything might not be very clear, but hold on that. At least try to understand that these are the things we have to understand conceptually. So as we go along, we'll try to build upon it. So what we are trying to basically do right now through the transcendental knowledge is that we are going to basically evolve our consciousness from Niskam Karma Yoga type 1 to Niskam Karma Yoga type 2 by taking the Gyan of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and what the soul is, and what the relationships are, and how they should be engaged in Krishna conscious activity. So that's what basically is the importance of this chapter. Okay, so with that, I would like to see if there is any questions anybody has.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, previously you mentioned what is EY there? Symbol. Can you go to previous slide once, Prabhuji?
This one?
No. That table. Yeah. The table. Prabhuji.
Okay, here.
Table.
Yeah.
AY means here. Okay, sir. AY.
Oh, Ashtanga Yoga. So
Okay.
JY Gyan Yoga, AY Ashtanga Yoga, BY Bhakti Yoga.
EY is Ashtanga Yoga. Okay.
Yeah, Sakam Karma Yoga, SKKKY, Sakam
No,
Karma Yoga.
I understand.
Yeah, so
Only
Gyan Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, Bhakti Yoga.
Okay, so in our terms like Gnana Yoga or Sankhya Yoga and Nishkama Karma, and again we are saying Buddhi Yoga is Nishkama Karma plus Sankhya or Gnana Yoga is normally we are calling Buddhi Yoga, right? Or this is comes under Bhakti Yoga, means that word. Just wanted to understand the terminology.
Explain, ask it once again. I didn't catch it. Ask it once again, Mataji.
Sure. Just I'm trying to understand the terminology, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
So Nishkama Karma. Okay, that is in maybe NKKY2. Okay, NKKY1 say. And Gnana Yoga, or we are saying Sankhya Yoga, whatever we discussed in second chapter also. Right? Knowing the things.
Yeah.
And Buddhi Yoga, whenever we are saying Buddhi Yoga referred as these 1 plus 2, I mean Nishkama Karma plus Gnana Yoga.
So Buddhi Yoga is basically when one is acting as Niskam Karma Yogi type 2 with full knowledge in Bhakti. So now you have all this knowledge, and then you are taking that knowledge and acting as a bhakti. So buddhi yoga in second chapter basically is the higher stage of niskam karma yoga, where one is engaged, where one is about to engage in Krishna conscious activity, about to take the bhakti yoga. So many
Yeah.
times loosely we call it bhakti yoga also.
So simply buddhi yoga, or we can say bhakti yoga.
Yeah. You can call bhakti yoga in the beginning stage of bhakti yoga. Yes.
Okay, buddhi yoga, we can say simply starting of bhakti yoga. Okay.
Yeah. Simply
Of course,
starting.
that is always included this prescribed, doing the prescribed duties without attachment and having the knowledge of the Krishna. That is right. So
Exactly. So now at that time, devotee has or the person has knowledge about Krishna, and he knows that the way to act is basically act as an karma yogi, and then he is now engaging in devotional service of Supreme Personality of Godhead. So at that stage, when one is taking the buddhi yoga, then there will be some overlap. Okay, then their activity will become limbs of the bhakti. Are you clear, Mataji?
okay, Prabhuji. No, just wanted to understand the
Yeah.
terminology, meanings. I got it, but just I'm trying to understand, like whenever we are saying in the ladder or wherever it fits, right? So buddhi yoga, we can say starting stage of buddhi yoga.
Yeah. So Mataji, this is not a discrete function, right? The evolve when our consciousness is evolving, it's going through one stage to another stage, right? So it's basically evolution of our consciousness. So it's not like that you drop one stage of consciousness and get into another, but slowly and slowly we transition. Okay, Mataji?
Yeah, got it, Prabhuji. At least for this Gruhastha, say NKKY1 is anyway required or base, I can say, for anything to start something, right? On the above stages.
Yeah, so Niskam Karma Yogi definitely is much better than Sakam Karma Yogi or or Karma Kandi. But for Niskam Karma Yoga type 1, that person is still not very sure that what is the object. So Gyan Yoga, Krishna will give them that knowledge. And that's the, if you read the purport, it's been said that the goal of Niskam Karma Yoga is Gyan Yoga. Because now that person is basically going to come to that stage where they will know that, okay, I have to act for Krishna. Okay. And then there are some warning that I would like to give. So when we basically talk about Ashtanga Yoga or Gyan Yoga, this is a little advanced. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Kapil Dev is also talking to Mother Devahuti about Gyan Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga. But the way he talks is basically bhakti. Okay, so here Gyan Yoga that we are going to talk, it's basically Gyan of Supreme Personality of Godhead, which is also bhakti. Okay, the Ashtanga Yoga, the 8 limbs that you have, those limbs are also devotee can use in devotional service. Okay, so there is little bit warning, there is little bit caution we have to take. We don't have to, when we are talking, when devotees are talking, we are not taking these completely like the outsider will talk. They will say Gyan Yoga means just the Gyan. No, we are talking about very specifically here that Gyan is the Gyan of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So I'll define it as I go along, Mataji. I'll try to define it. But if still there are some confusion, keep on asking. Okay.
Yeah, sure, Prabhuji. We are understanding the terms, but whenever we are calling that as in that particular, like suppose simply I say Gnana Yoga.
Are you studying the purport of Prabhupada's?
Yeah, Prabhuji, I'm trying.
Yeah,
yes.
study systematically. Okay, give some time and read Srila Prabhupada's purport page by page, and then try to understand. If things are not clear, then we can talk more about some of those things. But it's very important, Mataji, this is my humble request, that we study Prabhupada's purport very carefully. because Prabhupada, took the essence that is presented by other acharyas and presented to us in a very concise and simplified form. So if you study carefully, you will see that Srila Prabhupada is in its purport talking about Bhakti Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. This is essence. Is it okay, Mataji? Are you there?
Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay. Anybody has anything before we get into what chapter? Okay, so the fourth chapter, Sri Bhagwan Vacha. Imam Vivashwate Yogam Proktwan Aham Avyayam Vivashwan Manave Praha Manur Ikshwak Ikshwakave Abravit. So Imam Vivaswate Yogam. Krishna says that Proktwan Aham Avyayam. Aham Avyayam, this transcendental knowledge, Avyayam, which is not going to be perishable. So this imperishable knowledge, Proktwan, I have spoken. To whom? He says, Vivaswan. And then Vivaswan, Manave Praha, he spoke that to father of mankind, Manu. And then Manur Ikshwake Abravit. And then Manu spoke, Maharaj Manu spoke that to Ikshwaku. So it has been a long time since this knowledge was spoken. So whenever you see a star, means this is the verse for memorization. So verse number 2, which is very common verse, this is the verse we have to memorize for the exam. So Krishna says, Evam parampara praptam emam raj rishu vidu shakalena mata yogo nashta prantapaha, very clearly. That with due course of time, this imperishable science that I spoke to Vivaswan, we spoke to Manu, and then that was spoken to Maharaj Ikshwaku, that lineage has broken. So the purpose Bhagavad Gita was spoken because this knowledge was broken. The knowledge was lost. Then Krishna says who he select to give this knowledge. He says, Sa ivayam mayate adya yoga prokta pratanaha bhakto vasi me sakhacheti rahasyam hi etad uttamam. So rahasyam hi etad uttamam. This most powerful rahasya, transcendental knowledge. Now I'm going to give it to you. Yoga proktaha puratanaha. I'm going to speak this puratanaha, this eternal transcendental knowledge to you because you are bhaktosi me sakhacheti. So who Krishna decides to give this knowledge? The person who is shakha, the person who is bhakta. So Raj Rishi or Brahm Rishi, anyone who is taking the friendship approach or who are taking the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they are the suitable candidate to receive this transcendental knowledge, not the demons. Demons should not take this knowledge. Hiranyakaspu, he knew that his brother Hiranyaksha was killed by Vishnu, but still he would not believe. So this is mentality of the demons. But devotee has that shraddha, and devotee can take that knowledge. So it's very important. This is very simple verse, but very deep verse also. Sometimes one think, oh, why Krishna? or this devotee who are, you know, follower of International Society for Krishna Consciousness, they are only talking about Krishna. It makes whole lot of sense to all of you why we should be devotee of Krishna. And I'm sure all of you are trying your best to become a better devotee. The fire is not going to be subsided. That fire is, keep on going, high and high. Why? Because Krishna has somehow or other chosen you also to understand this science of Krishna consciousness. So this is matter of good fortune that if we have come to this stage where we are trying to take the process of bhakti. So Krishna says that I have taken, many birth. Okay. So after hearing this, when Krishna said that I have already spoken this knowledge to King of Sun God, Vivaswan, then the very common question comes, oh, both of us, we are born, at the same time, we are of the more or less same age. And how I would believe that you spoke this knowledge to Vivaswan. So it's a long back, right? If you understand the day of Brahma, when the Srishti was created, uh, the sun was created, right? And then there are multiple, uh, kalpas, and in each kalpa there are 14 manu, and each manu has 72 divya yuga. So we are talking about long time, and we'll talk about some of this concept later. But it's not something very small time on our kind of a scale. It's huge, long time. So it's very common that any person will ask, oh, you are saying that you spoke that to Vivaswan, but you and I are of the similar age. So how should I believe that you spoke to Vivaswan? Then Krishna says, Bahunani me vyatitani janmani tava arjuna tani ham veda sarvani natum veta. Oh Arjun, both you and I have taken many births. I can remember all of them, but you cannot. So, uh, what does it mean exactly that Krishna was there? Krishna also does not incarnate in every kalpa, right? So, here basically Krishna is trying to say that through my avtaras, through my expansions, either I come through Matasya or I come through Kurma or I come through Varaha, through my multiple incarnations, all of these incarnations, the Amsi and Amsa, right? All of the incarnations are Amsa. The Amshi, Swayam Rupa, Swayam Bhagwan, Sri Krishna. So he is cause of all the causes. So if I say that this hand is mine, these legs are mine, these eyes are mine, this nose are mine, makes sense, right? Because these are part of my body. When we say Krishna has a thousands eyes, thousands nose, thousands ears, that also is true because all the expansions of Krishna and all the hands and eyes that those expansions have, those are eyes and hands of Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, even and whenever I have come in one form or other form, since you are my eternal associate, you are there too. But by Maya, but by my Yog Maya potency, I can put you in a situation of forgetfulness for my pastime, and you would not remember your birth. But I, being the eternal absolute personality, I remember all of those uh, incarnations that I have taken. So, yes, it's right that you in this life are son of Mother Kunti, and you think yourself the Pandaputra Arjun, but this is not the only life you have taken. You have also taken multiple life. when I was here in different form, but you have forgotten all of those life, and I have not. So verse number 5 and 6 going to give the Janma Rahasya, important verse. Janma Rahasya of Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the knowledge. The knowledge that's given here is that Arjun, don't think that, if you have forgotten, then I have forgotten too. I remember all, but you do not. And then this is very, 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 very powerful verse, extremely powerful verse. This verse number 6 is one of the pivotal verse of this chapter, where Krishna says, Ajo api shan anvayatma, avayatma, ajo api san avayatma, bhutanam ishwaro api shan, prakritim swam adhisthaya Sambhavami Atmayaya. So Ajo Apishan Avyaktma Avya Atma. Avya Atma. Again. Ajo Apishan Avya Atma. So here Avya Atma refers to eternal body, Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ajo Apishan Avya Atma. Although I am unborn, but I have been coming in my transcendental body. Bhutanam Isharu Apishan. I am the master of all the living entity. Prakritim Swam Adhisthaya Sambhavami Atma Mayaya. Although I do not have to take birth, but I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form, but not by Sambhavami, not by some other force, not by some artificial creation, but Atmayaya, my will, with my desire. I come, I come here, with my desire. There is no Srijan Shakti, there is no Sthit Shakti, there is no Pralaya Shakti. My manifestation is because of my Atmayaya, because I decide to come. And when I come, I'm not coming with the perishable body, the body that is going to be perished. Rather, Avayatma, I come with Avayatma, with my transcendental body. So there is a long purport, and human being can also think, oh, and Krishna is going to talk that when I take birth, the foolish bewilder, and they also think that I'm one of them. So Krishna very clearly is uh, trying to help us understand that his birth is not like the birth of ordinary human being. Okay, so we have some important points here that I would like to go through to make sure that this concept is clear. So Lord, when he comes through his transcendental body, but living being has perishable body. I'm sure you all would know that. I know that part because I'm getting old now. These are very important to chime and try to, dwell on each and every word and understand a little bit more. His own choice, no force. Krishna comes by his own choice. There is nothing to force him, but living entity have no choice. Whatever, their karma is based upon that, whatever result that soul has to suffer is forced into that body. So you and I have no choice. Maybe this life I am Ramacharya Das. Next life I don't know. I may go down, I may go up. So based upon my karma, I'll be forced to take a particular body. Okay, so Krishna's coming here is not because of the result of karma, but we come due to karma. Our coming here is due to karma. And as all of you know, that our existence has both uh, gross and subtle aspect. So uh, living entity has both gross, which is very obvious, but we also have a subtle body, mind, intelligence, and false ego. But Krishna does not. He does not have any subtle body. All he has is transcendental body, which is imperishable. And he comes with his knowledge. But living entities comes in forgetfulness. Very important point to be noted. We come, we don't know what was my previous life, and we don't know what is going to be my future lives, right? Complete forgetfulness. But Krishna comes with his knowledge, comes with his knowledge. And he's living on this material world. The action that he does, the activity that he's part of, does not create any bondage to him. But our form, whatever form we have taken, whatever activities we are part of, that creates bondage for us. And that bonding forces us to take different body. Krishna can simultaneously reveal all the forms. When he's showing his Vishrupa, universal form, Arjun can see all the form. But at a particular moment of time, he reveals only one form. So Lord Ramchandra ji, at that time, through his Yog Maya, he covered all of his forms and he was walking at Lord Ramchandra. But Lord Ramchandra at that time has potency to expand and show his other forms. So Krishna, when he is on this planet, although he's walking in his two-arm form as Sham Sundar, but he has full potency to show all of his forms. But living beings are going through the cycle of 8.4 million species of life, and we cannot show any other form, only one form, very limited form. Okay. And then Krishna's form is eternal. So what is the similarity? Little bit similarity is there. Krishna's forms are also eternal. The soul is also eternal. Okay. But for Krishna, soul, body, holy name, everything is same. But for us, the body that soul is put into is different. So the soul is put into a body which is perishable, but that does not apply with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Anything that Krishna is doing when he's walking on this planet, everything is managed by his Yog Maya potencies. But living entities, they are fully managed, fully controlled by Mahamaya potencies. Okay, and Mahamaya potencies are prominently governed and controlled by Guna, Tamoguna, Rajaguna, and Shatoguna. But those guna are not acting on Supreme Personality of Godhead. So when we are hearing this verse, Ajo apishan avyatma, bhutanam ishwaropi apishan, prakritim swan, swam refers to Krishna, adhisthaya, sambhavami atmamayaya. I come because of my Yogmaya potency. And the body that I have is avyatma. It's not perishable body. So these are some of the very important difference that we have to understand. And this is Janm Rahasya. So through verse 5 and verse 6, we learn the secret of Lord's appearance. And then next two verse, Krishna is going to talk about his karma, his what he does, why he comes, what are the cause that that uh, make him come. Okay, so time of Krishna appearance. Yada yada hi dharmasya, very powerful verse. All of you know. Glanir bhavati bharata abhitanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijami ham. Whenever and wherever there is decline in dharma and increase in adharma, at that time I descend myself. So Krishna is giving the time. What is the time when he comes? When there is decline in the dharma and increase in adharma. The word here being used is srijami aham. So srijami means, I made myself appear. Srijami aham does not mean that Krishna was not existing before and then, he comes into existence. There are certain, certain factors that is that is making him take the body or forcing him take this body. So Srijami has to be very clearly understood that it's not basically like Mayavadi will say that ultimate you know uh, truth is Brahman, and then Brahman decides that I have to take the form and then take the form and comes. That's not what we are talking about here. We are saying here that Lord exists, okay, and by his will he decides to come and then he come. So the time of Krishna's appearance and then purpose of Krishna appearance. Paritranaya sadhuna vinasaya chaduskritam dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami juge juge. So very famous. I'm sure all of you are, might have spoken this verse thousands time. To deliver the pious, to annihilate the miscreant, and to re-establish the principle of religion, I myself appear in every age. Okay. So here, uh, one can ask, why you have to appear, right? Why, my dear Lord, why you have to appear? You can do all of these things through your agencies. You can send some of your, avatars. Sometimes you can send your, empowered Shakti Avases personalities who can go and do uh, this for you. So why you have to personally come? And let's try to understand one by one. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has explained why Lord comes. So to deliver the pious, devotees are always engaged in devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he has or she has left, renounced this material pain and pleasure and always longing, my dear Lord, where are you? My dear Lord, how can I see? My dear Lord, how you look. So that to fulfill that desire, I come. It's so that when I come, I kill Kamsa. But more than killing Kamsa, is important for me to come as a son of Devaki. That's more important because Devaki has been meditating on me. So that's important that I come as their son. My devotee, Mother Yashoda and Nand Maharaj is longing for me. So for them, I come. So to fulfill the desire, the longing desire the devotee has, Krishna comes. That's more important than killing the demons. And when he comes at the same time, he annihilates the miscreants, but there are some miscreants who cannot be killed by other personalities, such as Ravan, such as Kamsa. Those personality can be killed only by Krishna. Okay. And another very important thing to be understood is that when Krishna kills certain personality, then that personality get liberation. Other form may be after getting annihilated by that form, they may go to higher abode, they may go to higher planetary system. But the liberation, like for example Sisupal, everybody was surprised. How come Sisupal, who has always inimical relationship with Krishna, merge into body of Krishna? How it's possible? Then Acharya says that Krishna creates such a strong akarshan, such a strong, or no other form of the Lord, let's put it that way, no other form of the Lord can create such a strong akarshan, attachment towards Lord than Krishna. And it doesn't matter, there is one verse that says that Kamsa perfected their life by being inimical with Krishna. Shishupal perfected their life by being envious with Krishna. Mother Yashoda perfected her life by being in motherly affection with Supreme Personality of Godhead. Likewise, a devotee, a sadhaka, can also perfect their life by taking the limbs of bhakti. By engaging in sadhana bhakti, they can perfect their life. So doesn't matter, one is engaged in thinking Krishna as an enemy, in envious form, as a object of their love, or object of their affection, or object of their meditation. In any form, Krishna can liberate, Krishna can purify. So that attraction, that trust, that pull, only Krishna can do. And then Yadad Achati Shrestha, there are certain code of conduct that only Krishna can present. Or when it's presented by Krishna, then it's going to be followed by all other personalities, all other forms of the manifestation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So yes, that is true that Krishna can get these things done through his agencies, but there are something more, and that only Krishna can do. So that is why Krishna comes. Okay, so is it making sense so far? Can somebody say yes or no?
Yes, true.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, so let's continue and then we will have some time. So then Krishna says here, so now you should know the purpose. Okay, why I come and how does it benefit? Janma karma cha me divyam yam vyeti tatvatha tyaktvadhyam punarjanma naiti mameti suarjuna. One who understands in truth the uncommon spiritual nature of my appearance and activities. So Janma Rahasya and Karma Rahasya, my dear devotee, is important. So verse number 4, 5 talks about Jan, and no, 8 or 7 talked about Karma Rahasya. 6 and 5 sorry, I'm messing up. 8 and 7 talked about Karma Rahasya, and 6 and 5 talked about Janma Rahasya. So that's what Krishna is saying here. So take from there until here. One who understands the truth of my appearance and activity upon leaving the body does not take this birth again in this world, but attains eternal abode. So one who understand verse 8, 7, and 6 and 5 in truth. These are Janma Rahasya, these are Karma Rahasya. One who understand in truth, they, after leaving this body, attains Lord's eternal abode. So, I just went through it, and you can say, I got it. Now I should go back to home, back to Krishna. I understood it in truth. What is the meaning of understanding it in truth? The explanation is given that a magician, when he does the magical display, what is time right now? Then I will pace myself. Okay, 11:58, only 2 minutes left. So when he does the magical display, he creates money, $1,000 bill, flying in the air, right? And everybody claps. See the rain of money. It's like all over, $1,000 of the bill. But as soon as magic is over, he begs people and asks that. So now, if you are happy, please do whatever donation you can do, right? And then he's not known as a man who is creating money, but he's known as a magician, right? Krishna's creation is not like that. Srijan, Sthiti, or Parlay, all that happens is real. Krishna has 64 qualities. He has unlimited qualities, but prominent 64 qualities. And all of those qualities are qualities of Krishna's, Aishwarya's, Krishna's, affection. So anything that Krishna does is not like that magic, and there we differ from Mayavadi. Mayavadi think that what is this whole world? It's illusion. They would say that it's like, it's like just the illusion. At the end of the day, we all are one. But devotee says no. They say that this Jagat is basically mithya. We say no, it's not mithya. It is, yes, it has a lifespan, that's for sure. But thinking that it's mithya, it's wrong. So when Krishna says that, knowing me in tattvataha means knowing the truth that Krishna's creation is not like this magical creation. I can, do this, I can do that, I can bring thousands of dollars. And as soon as he gets out of that stage room, he's still a poor, right? So these are some of the examples that can be given to understand what is the meaning of understanding Krishna's appearance and activity in truth, right? And then Krishna further says what exactly it means by knowing in truth. Reality check. You would say that I knew now in truth. Krishna says, if you have these qualities in you, then in reality you have knew. Tattvata, you have knew what is the reason of my appearance and activity. Bitarag bhaya krudha man maya mam upasritah bhavo janah tapsa bhavo janah tapsa hutamad bhavam agatah. So he says, bit rag, bit bhaya, bit krodha. What is the reality check? What is the check that you have understood Krishna in Tattvataha? Bit raga. One should not have any material attachment, Krishna is saying. That's the purpose. This is also spoken in in Nectar of Devotion. 9 qualities of a person who are real Krishna conscious. But I'm not going to refer that verse. Let's stick with the point. So bit raga. If you understood Krishna in truth, then you should not have material attachment. And bit bhaya. You should also not have fear. You should not be fearful. And bit krodha. And you should not have any anger also. So you should be free from the raga, bhaya, and krodha. That's the litmus test. If you have understood Krishna in truth. Manmaya mam upasrita. So 5 reasons are given here, 5 factors are given here. Vit raga, vit bhaya, vit krodha, manmaya, fully absorbed in me, Krishna says, and mam upasrita has taken refuge, taken shelter in me. Baho jnana tapsa, many person in past, putah mad bhavamagata, they have mad bhavamagata, they have purified their consciousness and attain the transcendental abode. But those persons have these 5 qualities, and having these 5 manifestation in your personality means you have understood Supreme Personality of Godhead. Man Maya, okay, fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness by taking the process of bhakti, sranam, kirtanam, vishnu, smarnam, pad sevanam, archanam, vandanam, dashyam, shakyam, atma nivedanam. So don't segregate it. Don't think that, oh, just by knowing, Krishna says, Janam karma cha medyam yam savyati tatvatah tyaktva deham punarjanma neti mamati so Arjuna. All I have to do is know that Krishna's activities and appearance in truth. And I accept that I know in truth. I should go. No. The reality test is that you should have these 5 qualities: free from the material attachment, free from the fear, free from the anger, man Maya, absorb in Krishna conscious activity, and fully taking shelter. Then another word that is being here used is jnana tapasa. Bhavo jnana tapsa, right? Many, bhavo refers to many, right? Many person in the past became jnana tapsa, purified their knowledge of me. So what is purification of the knowledge? Okay, Gyan Tapsha. I might go a little over, but let me try to complete this. What is Gyan Tapsa? This is very important concept for devotee, especially for sadhaka. Gyan Tapsha means adhering to the true knowledge. Okay, so there are people who are propagating that Daridra is the Narayan. There are people who are saying that the nationalism is the everything. There are people who are saying that Ganesh worship is the best. There is people who are saying that Shiv worship is best. There are people who on weekend is trying to make sure that they have been to all the temples and all the places, and they think that they are. So there are multiple ways, there are multiple ways that the theological understanding of the Lord has been presented. Okay, but here Gyan Tapsa means rejecting all other forms of knowledge. Tapasya, Gyan ka tapasya hai na. So rejecting all other form of tapasya, all other form of knowledge that you have, thinking that Ganesha will save me or Indra will save me. It's not offense. Conceptually understand this. It's not offense. Rather, it's your adherence. It's tapasya. Why I have to waste my time for anything else? His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada was not here to cheat me, not here to cheat the mankind. We just had appearance day of His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Swami Maharaj. He was not here to cheat Lion Guru. He was not here to cheat people. Bhakti Vinod Thakur is not here to cheat people, not give the dharma projita kaitava, not give the mundane secondary type of religion to the people. Swayam Mahaprabhu, none different than Krishna, he appeared in this lineage. He is not here to cheat and give anything. So we have a very limited lifespan, and our goal should be going back to home back to Krishna. Understand, my dear devotee, very carefully. So with that, in such a short lifespan, you don't have time unnecessarily to explore so many other things. You are initiated, you have a disciplic succession, you have a spiritual master, you have path to follow. So Gyan Tapsha means adhering to our own process, adhering to our own path. Okay. And with that path, these things will manifest, and then one will go back to home, back to Krishna. So it's very, very important. Meditate upon that, little bit, think about it, and be focused. Be very, very focused on the path, the jnana that is given to you by your disciplic succession. Forget about anything else, and that is called Gyan Tapsa. All the unwanted, weeds that is coming up around, I don't have to worry about it. I have to continuously pour water on my Bhakti Lata bridge. And the beej, basically the seed of devotion that is transplanted in one's consciousness by Guru, Shastra, and Sadhu. We have a Guru, we have a Shastra, we have a Sadhu. We don't have to necessarily, keep on doubting. Is it pakka hai ki nahi? Like, that थोड़ा कैसा hai? And then I'll see this, I'll see that. Don't waste time. Look, that's why the other importance of disciplic succession is. Okay, disciplic succession is not just for name. That Rupa Goswami was there, Raghunath Goswami was there, then Narottam Das Thakur, Krishna Das Goswami came, then Narottam Das Thakur came, then we had Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Likewise, Jagannath Das Baba Maharaj. It's not just to name, rather to see the force. See that this knowledge has been, and that's what Krishna is saying here. Many people have made their life successful. And then in the purport, Srila Prabhupada gives so many other personalities' name. They have made their life successful by Gyan Tapsa, by knowing that, by knowing what? By knowing these things, that Bit Raga, Bit Bhaya, Bit Krodha, Manmaya, and Mam Upasrita. By following these with firmness, they have come back to me, back to their eternal abode. Okay, so 10 verses we covered today. That was my plan, and then from next class we'll get into other set of verses. I would like to pause here and see if anybody has any questions or any discussions that we want to do. Is it clear so far? Is it clear so far? We have been making the points clear or not?
Yes,
Yes,
it's clear.
It should inspire. Okay, this Bhakti Sastri should inspire. If it's not inspiring, then I'm not doing good job. It should inspire us to take deeper shelter of Shastra and go deep, understand, very clearly what are the things, that is being said here. Look at different acharyas commentary and develop the profound understanding. And that, will help us understand, why we have to be firmly adhere with our process. I don't have to waste my time. There is a lot of things that I have to do in Krishna consciousness. Why I should waste my time for so many things? And it's not me thinking like that. Krishna is saying here, the Jnana Tapasya means that. Read the Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur commentary. I'm not making it up. Go and read, please. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying that Jnana Tapasya means adhering to the true knowledge, the knowledge that's coming to you. So with that, let's have some discussion. And Manohar Prabhu, Hari Bol, you want to say something? You were saying something? I heard some sound coming from
me. You're talking about me, Prabhuji?
Yeah. Manohar Prabhu.
Okay.
I thought you were saying something.
No, just flipping the papers, but Gyan Tapasya is very interesting. I mean, I know even in Gaudiya Sampradaya, we have so many literatures, something which I was not aware of it till recent, like, Brihat Bhagavad Mrita, then Chaitan Bhagavat, Chaitan Charitamrita we knew, but Chaitan Bhagavata is there. So many other literatures of many acharyas are there. So, I mean, I know my Guru Maharaj is constantly focusing on Bhagavad Gita Bhagavatam, BBC program. But I also think that all these literatures is actually expansions of these two literatures, right? So I am coming back to the concept of Gyan Tapasa. If the spiritual master is saying something, concentrate on Bhagavad Gita Bhagavatam. Is it not Gyan Tapasa to delve into other literatures, which are in Gaudiya Sampradaya, but not exactly the two literatures?
Yeah. So you are saying that is it Gyan Tapasya to adhere with Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
not
So Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam has everything.
Okay.
The same, the same concept, like, normally you would hear that the 4 seed verses were spoken to Lord Brahma, right? Chatusloki verse in Bhagavatam, right?
Yes.
And those verses, Vyasadeva expanded. Vyasadeva gave purport to those 4 verses by writing 18,000 verses.
Wow.
And then Prabhupada gave purport to each and every verse. So I just wanted to make the point. So the content is there, but to make it more relevant, to make it more, this is like, very much lot of knowledge crunched, in each and every word. So to open it up that's why the commentary, we also started Bhakti Vaibhav, and tomorrow we are going to talk there. You little bit saw what is as it is, right? You just saw one slide, but tomorrow in Bhakti Vaibhav course, I'm going to expand that 2-3 classes. What exactly it means by as it is. And then we'll see some of these things there. So yes, adhering with the Bhagavad Gita as it is by our acharyas and the commentary that's given by our acharyas is Gyan Tapsa. But then, sometimes going and trying to read some other commentary from Mayavadi school. Now you will conflict. Now Brahman is the Satya or absolute truth, Krishna, Bhagwan is the Satya. Confusion has started. Our, teaching is that Bhagwan is ultimate realization. Just focus on that. Now there should not be any confusion. Oh, Bhagwan bada hai, ki Paramatma bada hai, ki Brahman. I mean, why you are wasting your time? That's the point is being made here. So focused on the essential teaching that's given by our acharyas. And Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam is our principal books.
Another question. I mean, I know Nityanand Parents' Day was coming, and we know that Nityanand is Balram, non-different from Balram, and Balram is the source of all incarnations. Now, when we come to verse number 6 here, no, not one number 6, 7. It's no, sorry. Paritrana sadhana. Okay.
8.
Then 8. So is my appearance activities? No, not 8. Right, correct. So it's I delivered the pious and enlightened as I appear millennium after millennium. Now this is there. So basically, this verse here it says, okay. Now basically it says that many incarnations come from me, right? I'm forgetting here. Anyway, so when we look at that, okay, here verse number 7. Whenever and wherever there is decline of religious practice, O descendant of Bharat, and a predominant rise of a religion, at that time I descend myself. So I'm getting confused.
No problem,
So,
Prabhuji, we can talk about that.
But my confusion is when I'm forgetting to quote the verse, but it's if Krishna says in a very high level that he is the source of all incarnations, right? But and that we understand in later that, okay, no, not Krishna, there is a process. I mean, he first expands into Balram, and then there is source of incarnations. Those details we learn, which is not, may not be in Bhagavad Gita, but we learn later in Bhagavatam, kind of thing. So the a matter of clarify means, although Krishna is and Balram are not different, but we still that there is a little bit of confusion. Initially, when we come to Bhagavad Gita, it makes perfect sense. Then we go to learn little more, it adds to a confusion. And then we have to reconcile or harmonize between the two to actually understand what Shastras are meaning. Um, so I'm thinking um, if we have how should we take it, like while we are studying different literatures, and even during within the Gaudiya Sampradaya, how do we take and focus on the
Learn the
literature
study separately, Prabhuji. That's all.
yeah,
If I understand the question correctly. Always in association of devotee.
okay,
Even chanting should be done. Bhaktivinoda Thakur has given 7 elements. Brinda Mataji had some questions about chanting, so we are running late. So devotional service should be performed in association of a devotee. Like, you come, we go to Sunday feast, right? We look around and you see everybody ordinary like Ramacharya. Who is Ramacharya? Amog Namdas, all of these, ordinary people in the temple. Oh, Amognam Prabhu, how come he will be pure devotee? He doesn't look like a pure devotee. Or other devotee that they see, oh, that's our lens, But in fact, we depend on their mercy. We come together, and because their strength, their potency, their purity of the devotion, that's there. Whenever they are there. So, and you would notice that your intelligence, your behavior, your way of acting will suddenly change when you are in front of the devotee. So when when you look at the devotee, we don't look at anything else. We just look at their quality. How this person is fortunate that he has taken the shelter of Krishna, is trying to be Krishna conscious devotee. And if you create that type of mood, then you will find that there is a lot of learning for us. And it's very synergistic. Everything, if you see in our sampradaya, is emphasized that we should do in association of a devotee. So this Bhakti Sastri course certificate is secondary. It just gives us an association for us to discuss Hari Katha, talk about Hari Katha, chanting also. So doubts will be there, Prabhuji, but then there will be 1 or 2 devotee who will be leading, who will be like running on it, who will be acting. So they will be you should try to adhere to those people. This person can inspire me. Adhere, and then we just cross over. That's what Prabhupada did, right? Prabhupada mercy, right? We all are being saved, devotee. So try to do as much as you can in association of a devotee, in temple, in a good setup. It's very important. Devotee association should not be in any ways given the secondary or tertiary priority. It should be primary priority. Whatever opportunity we have, anything that's happening where we can come and associate with devotee, very humbly seek their association, it will help, Prabhuji. And doubt will go away. Doubt will go away. Doubt happens when mind is too agile, too much neti going on. So slowly and slowly it will. We have one thing is for sure, that we have the faith, right? And faith is the very important step, because on the foundation of faith, everything else can be standing up. So we have the faith. I don't know what other things. Mostly we are in the anarthana vritti stage. Sardha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajan Kriya, Anartha Nivritti. These are the stages we are mostly in. I mean, at least I'm in Anartha Nivritti stage. So let this stage go over, and it will quickly go over. You know, you will hear about that in later part of the discussion. You know, when we go to the nectar of instruction and nectar of devotion, we'll talk about these things. Then it'll go over quickly. So doubt will stay. Doubt is a symptom of intelligence, but we have to also, you know, give the proper surrounding. Okay, thank you so much. So I'll see you all next Saturday. Is it okay?
Prabhu, I had a doubt
Yes,
actually.
Prabhuji, doubt, please ask.
Yeah. So if we see at the yoga ladder, Gyan Yoga is better than the Nishkam Karma Yoga part 2. Okay. Now, just want to confirm this. In chapter 3, Krishna tells Arjuna, Nishkam Karma Yoga is better than Jnana for you at this stage. Is it because Krishna's heart is not purified? Is that the reason? Because
Arjuna
Prabhupada
heart is
explains
not
about-
purified.
Yeah, is that the reason?
In where?
In third chapter, Krishna says that for Nishkam Karma Yoga is better than Gyan Yoga for you.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So is it because the goal, one of the goal you have mentioned is that Nishkam
Yeah. So
heart is not purified.
I mean, Arjuna is eternal devotee, so his heart is definitely pure. But the logical order, you are right, right. Unless and until, you know, so you don't want to artificially renounce the activity, thinking that I can do it, right? Although you have that, you know, impurity. Visaya binivartante niraharasya dehinam. Remember the verse? That artificially, you know, one can, you know, do nirahar. I don't want it. You know, I can restrain myself not eating any har, but the hunger is there, right? So that's the point that Arjun, or what you were trying to understand, Prabhuji, liberation or gyan can be followed after some purification.
Yeah.
That's what you were trying to understand, and that's right. 100% right. You know, you have to have some purification, and here we like, you know, what we have done over the years, purified ourselves, right? And with that purification, absorption will come. So jnani, you will pretend that, you know, I have become the renounced, but you will be still looking at the women, and then you will be looking at them, but your heart still has a sexual desire, but you are artificially pretending that then you are mithyachari, right?
Yeah.
So this is a process given for us that, hey, engage in the limbs of bhakti in the beginning stage, purify your consciousness. With that purification, absorption will come. Take the example of all of us. Why we are here on Saturday? Because we have a little bit more absorption, you know, with some purification. So you made the point that you made is correct. I agree with that. Yes.
And Yukta Vairagya can be, I mean, the second part of Nishkam Karma Yoga. You can say it is Yukta Vairagya also, right? It's a practice of Yukta Vairagya.
Niskam Karma Yoga, Prabhuji, Yukt Vairagya will come in the very higher stage of Krishna consciousness. So let me share this screen.
Because you have mentioned about sannyas grahastha in the goal. So that's what I mean, triggered me for that particular point.
Yeah. So basically in bhakti, we are in the dovetailing stage. And as we advance in the bhakti, then we are doing Yukt Vairagya. Let me share that screen. I think it will help you understand. This was the question last time also, but unfortunately I couldn't find that slide. If devotee wants to leave, they can leave. Whoever is interested, they can get here and hear that. Prabhu, here is the fourth stage of our. Are you seeing this slide here, Prabhu? This slide?
Yeah, I saw that. 4 levels
Yeah.
of engagement.
Exactly. So basically, we are mostly in dovetailing stage, where we have some degree of attachment, and we follow some rules and regulations, and we are transitioning from dovetailing to Yukt Vairagya. But once we get into the Yukt Vairagya stage, Prabhu, we don't have attachment for the sensual object. We don't do anything for our sense pleasure, and we do things which are only uplift, useful in Krishna consciousness.
Yeah.
I'm little. So only, like for example, chamara or fan. Do you have any utility for that?
Yeah.
But you keep it only because you have to serve to Krishna, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So in Yukta Vairagya stage, there is nothing that the living beings or the devotee is doing for their personal sense gratification. The personal sense gratification has completely gone. And higher than that is Raganuga Bhakti, a spontaneous devotional service, where only reason you have in your life because you love Krishna. Like, all of these, 6 Goswamis, they would live beneath the tree and all they had is, love. It's very, very high stage, right?
Yeah.
So we are in a stage of transitioning from dovetailing stage to Yukta Vairagya. Somewhere, on this ladder, I don't know how many points we can have here, but somewhere we are here. We are dovetailing most of the time. Like I have a car, I have my home, I have my house, this and that. There are some stuff that I do for my personal sense gratification also. There are some that I do for Krishna. Or anything that I do for my personal sense gratification, I try to tag that to Krishna consciousness. That's dovetailing. Is it clear?
Yeah, bro.
But then, so you would say that, right? That we are perfectly
Yeah.
not in the Yukta Vairagya stage.
Yeah.
So that's the point I was trying to make. But for sure, we are not in the first stage, where there is no rules and regulations are followed, and we are working day in, day hard, only for sense gratification. This stage definitely is gone. We are somewhere between stage 2 and 3. And our goal should be basically through Yukta Vairagya, come to, at least this lifetime, if you can come somewhere after Yukta Vairagya, and 3 and 4, we'll go back to Krishna.
Hoping for that.
Hoping for that.